Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about 13 principles to grow your business like Amazon and about Jeff Bezos, the world's richest person. Welcome to Invincible Innovation Live Show. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Mazor, Kario, product innovation and value creation expert, and I'll be your host. And today I have a very special guest, Steve Anderson. Hi, Steve.
Hey, hi, how are you? Great to be
I'm
here with you.
good. I'm
Good.
so happy to see you. Steve is the co-founder and CEO of Catalyit and an international best-selling author of the Bezos Letters. So I'm going to tell you about this book that he wrote. The Bezos Letters unlock the key lessons, mindset, principles, and steps Bezos continues to use to make Amazon the massive success that it is today. Applying these principles helps drive higher, faster results. So it's going to be interesting today. We're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, and you're so invited to join the discussion and ask questions. And now we can start. So before we had a small discussion, and you told me, what are these letters? So he's writing these letters for what is the reason that Bezos is writing these letters for all of these years?
In the US, annually, public companies have to file financial reports with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Traditionally, it partly to help explain some of that dense financial information, CEOs write a letter to those people who actually own stock in the company called shareholder letters. Now, most of those shareholder letters are boring and all they do is tout the benefits of the company. Where Bezos was different is he did some of that and he talked a lot about his mindset and what tools, techniques, processes, things that he used to actually grow Amazon, hence the title of the book. And I just became really intrigued when I read those letters really as a single narrative. And there seemed to be threads going through those letters that he talked about. And frankly, I thought they were really helpful and important
Yeah.
thoughts and what ended up being principles, which is what I wrote about in the book.
Yeah. And you read about more than 20 of them for this
Yes.
book?
Yep.
And
So the
and
first
you
the first letter was 1997 when they went public,
wow.
and his last letter as CEO before he stepped down was 2020. So
Yeah.
again, a lot of letters. I mean, actually, a book in of themselves,
Yeah.
and
Did,
I helped kind of make them more approachable. I hope it was the
yeah.
purpose behind the book.
Yeah. Do you feel that he grew? Like when you were going from 1997, like as a person, as a businessman, that he could articulate it better. What did you think?
Yeah, well, I would say a couple things. One is he's an excellent writer. I mean, the way he uses words, the way he puts phrases together, it became really apparent. One, a lot of these letters aren't written by the CEO. I feel most of the letters Bezos wrote were his, meaning he wrote them. I'm sure he had other input and all of those, but just the style was consistent throughout the letters. I would say the only exception to that was 2019, where I felt like the style was a little different. And if you remember, the 2019 letter is published in the spring of 2020, right? So the pandemic
Yeah.
was in full force, right? Amazon was
Yeah.
going crazy, growing rapidly.
Right.
I felt like he had too many other things going on, but that was just, I don't know if that's true or not. I've never been able to confirm that, but that
That's a
was
good
just my
question.
sense. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with something that everybody knows about Jeff Bezos, that he's a master of risk. And we're talking about great entrepreneurs and what they know how to do is handle risk. And why you're thinking that this is so important, and how do you know you're taking too much or not enough risk in your
E-
business?
Exactly. So, I mean, that thought really came out of my work in the insurance industry here in the US. Um, last 25 years was spent helping insurance agents really understand and use technology. And as we know, technology continues to develop rapidly. And I started asking the question, is the biggest risk companies face actually not taking enough risk? Well, very counterintuitive for the insurance industry because we're all
Sure.
about mitigating risk, right?
Right.
And here I'm saying you need to take more business risk in order to be able to continue to grow. And as I researched kind of that concept, certainly came across companies that many of them we know were once very successful and are no longer here. And companies that continue to be successful. So what's the difference? Well, I came across Amazon and the shareholder letters and really did a deep dive. And I think one of the things is that Jeff Bezos understood the power of strategic risk taking. And so I call him in the book the master of risk because he's
Yeah.
not afraid of failure. Because he understands that in order to continue to grow, you need to experiment. And by its very nature, an experiment means you're going to fail, maybe
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 until you find that right thing. And so throughout his letter, he talks again and again about the need to experiment in order to invent so that they can then innovate. And I think that's where a lot of the innovation mindset is, well, we need to innovate. Well, innovate is great. It does need to be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's taking what you've already had as a success and incrementally trying to improve it versus inventing something brand new. And Amazon is been great at inventing entirely new businesses within their organization. I mean, AWS, Amazon Web Services, is certainly an example of that. And understanding the power and the benefit of then growing some of those, as he calls them, seedlings, and protecting them as they grow. So risk is central. In fact, my first principle is encourage successful failure. And again, businesses don't typically put those two words together.
Yeah, of
But
course.
if you don't, as a business owner, manager, CEO, whatever the position is, your employees are going to follow your lead. If you think risk is bad, then they're not going to experiment because failure then becomes a negative. And I actually believe most employees are not actually afraid of failure, but they are afraid of the consequences of failure.
Of course. Of
right?
course.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
And so how do you get people's ideas that may be crazy that actually might work to get them out?
Yeah.
If you don't encourage the fact that maybe every idea isn't going to work, and that's okay.